Hey y'all, welcome to Sharpen, where no matter the candid conversation, we always end up whittling life down to what matters most, and we hope that as you hang out with us, you will be inspired to do the same. My name's Nicole Payne. This is Danielle Perry. This is Lynn Rue, and this is Natara Blount. And today's topic is LOVE.
Patient, love, kind, love, sweet, love, kind.
Dun, dun, dun.
It's a good one.
Anyway, we're going to jump right into these here questions, y'all. Well, I'm learning when we really evolve and love the way God has mapped out for us to evolve. 1 John 4 talks about being made perfected in love. Let me pull it up real quick because I want to be right about it. It's talking about God is love. And if we say we love but we hate our brother, then we lying. Pretty much. Lying. You know, and love has been perfected among us in this, that we may have boldness in the day of judgment, because as he is, so are we in this world. There is no fear in love, but perfect love casts out fear. But he who fears has not been made perfect in love. We love because he first loved us. So there is a receiving of love, of God's love that we do, right? But then there is the perfecting of that love that we receive from God shows through our love outwardly. That's why the Bible says that the first and great commandment is to love the Lord our God with all of our heart, soul, mind, and strength. And then the second is to love our neighbor as we love ourselves. So we show that we are being perfected in love by receiving the love of God. And what that does is that changes us so much in here that then we are able to reflect that same love outwardly. If we cannot reflect that same love outwardly, then we're not being perfected in love. And what you talked about, that being fleshed out in friendship love, in marital love, whatever. Receiving God's love, letting him show you that he really fully knows you, and like just opening up to that, not trying to close anything off from him, it puts you in a mature space to be able to do that for other people. Right. So you can say, hey, y'all, my lip is on the lean. I need some prayer, even though that was uncomfortable for you, even though that, you know what I mean? Or I am anxious. I deal with anxiety. Y'all pray for me, please. Like things that we would want to keep close to the vest. When we receive the love of God, understanding that we're fully known by him, that strengthens us to be bold enough to be misunderstood by people when we put ourselves out there, and they may not, they may mishandle us. But knowing that we have that safest space with God matures us in love, and it emboldens us to put ourselves out there and possibly be misunderstood. But when we put ourselves out there and the people respond the way God would want them to respond to us, we have that community, we have that vulnerable space. And so that's how love's supposed to work, you know? Yeah. If we get stuck on question 3, that's fine, because I think this is a really good one. So it says, pick one of the following types of love and tell us how it's most prominent in your life, aka your experience with it, etc. And I wanted to start with agape because that's where all the other loves come from. So let you go first.
So this definition that I see here on Google, it says that agape is the highest level of love to offer. It's given without any expectations of receiving anything in return. To me, that sounds like God's love. I remember having a conversation with Jared in the car one day just about a particular situation where it was hard to love, and I was asking him, how do you love people that are hard to love? Because I see that you do that, just with certain members of his family and whatever. I'm like, how do you just do that? And he's like, well, I don't remember how he put it, but it brought me to tears. But he was basically like, what is God's love? How does God love us? He doesn't love us expecting anything in return. So when we find ourselves having a hard time loving someone that's hard to love, we do it anyway because that's what God does for us. His love is unconditional, which means that there are no conditions. It doesn't matter what we do, what we say, how we're acting. God is still going to straight up be like, oh, that's my daughter. That's my son. I love them. And when we really, kind of get out of our own way when it comes to loving people that are hard to love, and when we really think about how God loves us, that agape kind of love, it kind of like, it just sets you straight.
Set you straight.
It sets you straight because knowing you know you better than anyone knows you, right? Well, God knows you better, but after God, you know you, right? You know what can be in your heart sometimes. You know what can be in your mind sometimes. But the fact that God still loves me despite this filth, my righteousness is still as filthy rags, but God still loves me the way that he does, then absolutely I can love this person that's getting on my last nerve, but I can still love them. So, agape just really stuck out to me because it sounds like God's love. It sounds like unconditional love. It sounds like the kind of love that, you know what, you know how the Bible says, forgive that person 7 times 70? That's love. Yeah. Nobody really wants to do that, especially if that person keeps doing whatever that thing is that's really like getting under your skin. You don't want to keep forgiving them over and over, but that's what God does for us. Very much so. Yeah. So, and then also knowing that his word says, forgive them, Father. No, what's the prayer, y'all? Forgive them.
Oh, the Lord's Prayer?
The Lord's Prayer.
We know not what they do.
No, forgive us our sins as we forgive those
who trespass against us.
Yeah. So, forgive us which is a perpetual word. It's in the process of doing as we're forgiving people. So it's one of those things where God is telling us, okay, you asking me for forgiveness, right? But have you gotten your heart right? When it comes to forgiveness with that person or that person. So if God wants us to just love people and he wants us to just give of ourselves to people, I think that agape love is the kind of love that he wants us to give. Yeah. And we won't always get it back. But we still are commanded to give it.
For sure. So I put philia next when I swapped them.
Okay. Let's see what part I want to read first. Okay, so the most common form of philia love, huh?
You have notes.
Yeah, but I didn't write them. The most common form of philia is close friendship. And I'm gonna read this out. I'm gonna read this out of James. You adulterous people, do you not? That's what it said. James 4:4, y'all. I didn't write this. It's from James. You adulterous people, do you not know that friendship with the world is enmity with God? Therefore, whoever wishes to be a friend of the world makes himself an enemy of God. So in this verse, we are looking at the form philia of love, and it goes like beyond basic acquaintance and familiarity, but it goes more into commitment and association. So when we're talking about you can have agape love for non-believers, but not really philia love, because when you start digging deeper into being committed to someone, moving beyond just being familiar, when it starts going into like a deep love, like some of the examples in the Bible are Jesus and Lazarus. Like Lazarus. Lazarus was his boy. Lazarus, when I'm sure Jesus saw plenty of people die, and plenty of people that he probably knew die, but he cried when Lazarus, and he knew he was going to heal him. He knew he was going to raise him up, but it still broke his heart. And he kind of loved Lazarus more like a little brother. It wasn't his brother, but he loved him in that way. It kind of reminds me of how my boys love your boys, Nikki. Or even Jonathan and David. And people try to say, oh, they was lovers. No, you must not have like a really close friend if that's what you're thinking. Because there is a deep love that you can have with someone who is not your blood. And when we start thinking about filial love, I think I was just listening to a message by Pastor Stephen Chandler, and he was talking in February. He does like relationship series, and he was saying this relationship that we're going to talk about today, all other relationships hinge off of it. And he was talking about friendships, and he was talking about close, tight friendships, and he was like,
That's good.
what are our prayers for our kids? That they that they link up to some quality people. That's why you be looking like, well, he said, don't hang around him no more. Don't go back on that side of the block. Don't go over there with him because he be getting in trouble and you be getting in trouble with him. And we want our children, because they're impressionable, to be linked up with like-minded families, like-minded people, because when they start really building those tight relationships, the voices of those people start having an influence on what they think, on the things that they do, the things that they want. And it's the same as adults. Who are you linking up to? Who is that friend, that person that you are so tight with that you're willing to tell them anything?
Yeah.
And we have to be able to differentiate between having that agape love and having that tight, intertwined lifestyle kind of love with our friends. And we gotta pick and choose. We gotta be picky. And we all know there are certain things you can share with some people, and there are other things that's a little bit too deep, and I can't share that with some people, because the things you're going to speak over me, the things you're going to say, I can't with what that with what that's going to do, and selecting the right people to let into that space lends itself to how you conduct yourself in your marriage. You talk to the wrong person about your husband, and they might put a different kind of bug in your ear. Or how you conduct yourself on your job, how you conduct yourself with your children, how you conduct yourself in the ministry that you're a part of, or whatever it is that you're doing. Our thought processes are influenced by those people that we pull into our bubble. And I think agape, people can be outside of your bubble, just a general love. Like, don't do that. Don't say that about her. Don't do that. That's not nice. Now, she ain't my girl. That ain't my home. I barely know her, but it hurts my heart for you to talk about her like that. It hurts my heart for you to treat that person like that. But when you get into, I'll give you the coat off my back, or I'll give you, the money out of my bank account. It becomes a different kind of connection, a different kind of sacrifice, a different kind of vulnerability. Not just the ones for our family and our children and our spouses, but even in this, your relatives aren't all in this bubble. Not all of them. And they can't be. You can't. It's not. I just feel like it's a very what's the word when only VIPs? Exclusive. It's a very exclusive space when it comes to me. And I've learned to be more careful about where I put people. I think you can have friends. I know we say everybody else is an acquaintance, but I think you can have friends, but I think there are levels of friends.
Yes.
There are friends that I can do and talk about certain things, and then there are friends that are just a little tighter. But Jesus loved all of his disciples, but when he went to do some crucial things, he only took about 3. Doesn't mean that he didn't love the others.
Exactly.
So I think about the 3 when I think about philia.
The 3.
That's good. That's good. A friend loves at all times, and a brother is born for a time at but
It's a Proverbs.
Come on.
love adversely. Thank you, Lord. Proverbs 17:17.
Yeah. I think that's over there. Well, no, that ain't. But yeah, I hear you.
That reminds me of when I graduated from college, and a family member said to me, you want to align yourself with people that are moving in the same direction you are. And that has always stuck with me. That was the one thing that is most memorable about that day that I graduated. You want to align yourself with people that are moving in the same direction you are moving now. And because you have to. And I don't think your circle should be vast. Like, it should be enormous either. When you were talking about that, there were 12. Like, your circle just shouldn't be that big. You can be social. You can be, like you said, demonstrating agape love to everybody. But your
That's the big
core
circles,
group,
agape.
right?
Yeah.
But your core group,
Yeah, it's smaller.
it should be smaller.
Yeah.
It should not be,
Right.
you know, an entourage, and you paying out, you know, you paying for everybody in the restaurant. So, yeah,
And stuff get messy.
it definitely
does.
does.
It
Yeah.
does.
Am I next?
I think I'm next.
Okay.
Eros. Yeah, so Eros love is the sensual or romantic love. I thought you was gonna pick it, but
Nope. I said I'm gonna stay away from that one.
so let's see, because I asked, I think, tell us how it's most prominent in your life. Okay, so Eros love. So I put I'm loving what this looks like in marriage for me and Kwesi these days. Kwesi and me these days. After almost 17 years of marriage, I feel like we're finally getting this part right. You understand? After 17 years. Come on here. So which points to the fact that at the beginning of marriage, I had to face up. I think he and I both had to face up to the fact that sex in marriage it was going to take work.
Yeah.
And before marriage, I think I just had in my mind, we just going to slip right on into it. And we
Slip.
Just what you tell everybody that day? Did y'all, everybody lubricate. Remember that day
Y'all
before
need to
praise and
lubricate.
worship? Like that.
'Cause they was
Everybody
dry.
lubricate because everybody was dry.
Everybody was dry. They need to
Looked at each
lubricate.
other like this shit
Terrible.
That was
It's terrible.
hilarious.
But yeah, it was a rude awakening.
Yeah.
Like, you mean like this is gonna take work? This is what I've been trying to stay tight for.
That's right. Right. Literally tight.
Keeping closed for.
Sheesh.
You understand?
Talking about.
But but
I'm so glad y'all.
listen. We need to talk about the
We
things
do.
truthfully,
We
because
do.
this is a part of the reason why I was so struggling.
Exactly.
Okay, need to be
Right.
talked about by saved folks. Okay,
Come on.
So, I can speak for me. I have had to get under layers of hindrances regarding sexuality and sex for me. And some of those layers stem from trauma around childhood experiences with what I would call sexual exploration, sexual or intimacy in childhood. Part of that messed me up. But it took me, I wouldn't say it took me years, but there was a point in life, in adulthood, when I was faced with it all over again, seemingly out of the blue. And at this point, the warfare around it was so strong that I was like, all right, Lord, what I do? Because this is about to like unhinge me, anxiety around it. So that's when God led me to therapy. And it has been God and therapy that have opened up this healing balm for me here in this area of love, Eros love, and in marriage. So I put working through this plus Kwesi and I being intentional about being the best versions of ourselves makes the Eros love free and fun.
Yeah.
Seemingly because the other types of love are displayed through this. So I'm thinking of, you were talking about friendship love, right? And how Pastor Chandler was talking about the friendship love is kind of like the bedrock for all the other types. Yeah, because if me and Kwesi, if we're not, you talked about you and Montague, if we're at odds and we just came out of a space where we were at odds, and all y'all know about that anyway. Don't nobody want to jump in the sack? I know I didn't want to.
Jump in the sack. Very good.
I don't always feel that way.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Let us be very clear about that.
But it strained the Eros part of love for us because the other parts wasn't right. You understand? So, yeah, this Eros jumps cherry on the top.
Okay.
Right.
You understand? And the Bible talks about it.
What does it say?
It does.
In the Song of Songs.
It does.
Okay, all kinds of allegory and metaphor and
That
symbolism
fruit.
and imagery.
Climbing up that tree and grabbing
Okay,
hold
we're
of that
talking about
fruit.
delectable things. You understand? And laying between the bosoms.
That's right.
We're talking about gardens.
Flourishing.
You understand?
I'm definitely aware of it.
I was reading that last night. I was like, Lord, I feel some type of way. And it's okay that I'm feeling this type of way reading your word, Lord. You like Eros love.
Yes.
You instituted it.
That's right.
you did.
You understand?
That's right. Yes, ma'am.
Come on here. So,
I like this. It's true. It's good.
store J, because Natara has to take Joshua to Twigs.
Okay. Oh man, I wanted to comment first.
Oh.
Okay.
Ask Natara if it's okay. I don't
Yeah.
know.
No. So real quick, I think what we need to do, since we're talking about arrows, so we're talking about moving into marriage. There has to be a deprogramming.
Yes, ma'am.
It definitely has to be a deprogramming, especially if we've been intimate prior to marriage.
Right.
There has to be a deprogramming from that, because we're coming in with a skewed vision.
Correct. Correct.
We're coming in with a skewed vision of other relationships that we've been in that we believe is how this marriage bed should work. When that's not how the marriage bed was originally designed to work, which is why God is saying you have to, be virgins when we come to the marriage bed. In addition, there are certain shows that we should not be watching.
Right.
Because that also gives us an ideology of how this marriage is going to work. Like before I got married, I read quite a bit of romance books. And I still do. I like romances. I'm a rom-com girl. But now I look at it and I'm like, that is so
Right, you be like, girl,
insane.
please.
Like, what is happening here?
Wouldn't have went down that way in real life.
Or why are you second choice and all of these other things? But before that was not my thought process. And
Right.
I'm thinking, or I was a soap opera. I grew up with soap opera. So I'm thinking, hey, we getting in here, okay. It's on and popping. When somebody's like, no, can we wait a minute? I'm looking like,
Wait for what? Right.
yeah. Why? Why we waiting? You all right? I'm all right. Let it go down right now. And that's not. So there's a lot of deprogramming that we have to go before the Lord and ask us and get in his word and ask him to cleanse us so that we're not struggling. You're not struggling. And yes, it's not this struggle. It's not this push-pull. It's not these thought processes like, well, that never happened to me before, or, I'm not understanding why. Then y'all looking at each other sideways and it's like, I don't want to go down, but the other person wanted to go down. So it's like, get over it and let's get down. I'm just saying, but deprogram. Deprogram.
Can I just add real quick?
Yes.
I'm sorry. And when it comes to pornography,
Come on,
Yes.
sis. Pull it
that
out.
ain't real sex.
It's not.
Right.
I just watched 30 Minutes with the Perrys.
I gotta watch
The
that.
other Perrys, Jackie and
Preston.
Preston. And they were talking about that. And they were talking about sex. And they were like, that it's not.
That ain't it.
No,
not.
They're
it's
paid
not.
actors and
It's
actresses.
not real.
Yes, and just going back to
It's
the
a
programming,
script.
when you again, if you were exposed to that
Yes.
right before marriage, which I was, right, you have this mindset that you have to be deprogrammed.
You
from
do.
because you think, oh well, if that's what they did,
Right.
it must be that way,
Right.
Yeah.
And it ain't.
It's not. And masturbation.
It ain't.
So since we talking about the pornography and the masturbation, come on now, because we
Correct.
know we doing it.
And most times they go hand in hand.
Right. That's not happening. So now you got a mental image and you having sex with yourself.
Yep.
So now when you are with someone else and you wondering why you're not feeling
Not
the
feeling
way
satisfied.
that you're feeling, is because you've now manipulated yourself.
That's right.
Deprogram.
That's right.
Deprogram.
I agree.
So there are all kinds of perversion that can happen even when you're not penetrated.
Right.
That's right.
Even when you
Yes.
have not penetrated
Yes.
somebody else.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
All
Yes.
other types.
Absolutely.
All other avenues.
Let us move on.
Okay.
So the last one, it's actually pronounced storge.
Storge.
Yes,
Storge.
storge. Okay, so this is a natural or instinctual affection as a parent to a child or a child to a parent. Of course, you know,
Yeah.
I am the mom of the Rue tribe.
Yeah.
And,
And to many at the school as well.
oh, and the
Comedy all
urbanites
around.
of Baltimore.
Comedy
It
all
really,
around.
it really does trickle over
Either way.
into that
It does.
when you're
Yes.
dealing with children. Yeah. Yep.
And I love teenagers. I'm very proud of the Rue tribe. You know, they are, when I just look at them and I look at who they are and who they're becoming as adults, I know also that God has answered my prayers for them. That me, Dante, and I walking through and breaking generational curses is evident when I see my children and what they have not done and the things that they are accomplishing now as young adults, that Dante and I, it wasn't even in our thought process to do. So with that, and then it definitely lends over to my urbanite children. I said I was going to stop calling them the urbanites, but that's what they are right now, in school. And just the conversations that I have with them, and they know that I love them and I want the best for them. I always tell them the same parent that Jawan, Taiwan, Justin, Christian, and Sydney have is the same teacher and administrator that you have. You just missed the rod of correction. But if you would get it, you get right.
You want to get this right.
You would get right. You would be a little straighter right now. But yes, it's that parental love and the love that you have because you want the best. You know, you want them to go further. And you, with my experiences of being the Rue tribe parent, I then also give to my students. So that's what it is. It's just it's a feeling. I love getting up, going to work every day, dealing with them, being their parent, and being the Rue tribe. Still navigating this adult life. Kidults. Every day they call me weird.
Okay.
They do.
That's all right, 'cause if you
But
fully know.
you know, like what you said with the kids, when you see them, and every day I come downstairs, I see Sydney because she's like the last one that I see because she works from home, and she'll come downstairs. I'm like, "Hey, Sid," and she just looks at me like,
Calm down.
"You being weird."
That be my kid.
Like, you being
But let you
weird.
not do that.
Right.
Let you not glow, light up when they come around and they be looking like, what?
Like, yeah, you
Where's it at,
okay?
I did that with Gideon one day. I was trying to find something. I was frustrated. He was like, hey, Mom. I was like, what's up? And then I was doing something. He was like, Mom, you don't respond like that to me.
Correct.
I was like, I'm sorry, Gideon. Let me stop what I'm doing. He was looking like, girl, no. It's me.
Right.
Gideon. He couldn't believe it.
Exactly.
I'm sorry, this is totally off subject. Has Gideon ever done that? I think it's called the Shimoni dance. I don't know why that just came to my head. You
What
know
is
that?
this? Ah!
Has he ever done that before?
It's kind of how he dances. I mean, it's in that same.
I see that. Like, I
Yeah,
see
he doesn't do
Gideon
much
doing
moving.
that.
It's just a little bit.
Yeah.
That is how he dances. Like he be dead up. Unless if he's dancing for real, he gonna do a cartwheel. I don't know where that came from.
Yes.
He was in a full suit
Yes.
when he went to this dance, and he went down the Soul Train line, and he did a full on cartwheel. As he was breaking it down, did the flip, came back through. Get him, Gideon. Yes. Yep.
Remember that was a video, I think he was like a white boy. He was getting it though. He was like, yeah. I just see Gideon doing that.
Yeah.
That's funny.
All right, y'all. Well, To stay connected with us, check the show notes for the direct links to all the platforms where this podcast is available, or you can keep watching right here on YouTube. And if this podcast helps to build you up in any way and you want others to benefit too, please like, subscribe, comment, and share, as this helps to get the word out. This podcast is also a part of the juhstbee brand, which you can follow via the links in the show notes as well. There's merch and all there, y'all, including my book, juhstbee Child, which can be found on Amazon. If anything said here helped you, please take a moment to share or repost this and any other videos from this channel that resonate with you. We thank y'all so much for being here with us today at Sharpen, where no matter the candid conversation, we always whittle life down to what matters most. And we hope that today, as you hung with us, you were inspired to do the same. We'll see y'all next time. Bye.